Hi everyone and welcome back to National League Lowdown with me, Dan. As you can see, I'm joined by Craig and Mark. Craig, how are you?
Yeah, very well, mate. Just about dried out after going to Sutton yesterday. It rained the whole time. It was great to meet Louis and a game with some talking points that we'll get onto later as well.
Yeah, definitely. The National League Lowdown Derby, we called it, didn't we? Looking forward to hearing about that. Mark, how are you, mate? You okay?
Yeah, aloha everybody. Similar to Craig, I too was thoroughly soaked on Tuesday night as Mac were beating Leamington 3-1 with some pretty extraordinary goalkeeping from both keepers, it must be said. But John Rooney, manager of the month, so the manager of the month curse was heavily going through our mind. But we're up to sixth now. Them playoffs are looking good, but we've got a small game Monday night that we need to do. We need to get out of the way first, league aspirations and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's only a small game. I wouldn't worry about it too much on Monday night.
Yeah. It's not like the Premier League or anything.
No, nothing. But yeah, so we're going to get straight into it. So Forest Green travelled to Rochdale, 2-1 Rochdale. I actually watched this game. Manny D, I mean, what more can I say about him? He knows I'm the chairman of his fan club. I know he watches as well. So, all right, Manny, if you're watching. The first goal for me, Forest Green, absolutely criminal. 90 seconds in, Rochdale win the ball back high up, and I think it was Adebayo Rawlin got in, crossed it across, and Manny D's unmarked, six yards out. And I think I said to you lads off camera, like, if that's happening in the 90th minute, you can kind of forgive it because it's maybe tired minds, tired legs. But early doors, you've got to stay tight in those kind of games. You can't be giving goals like that away. And from then, Rochdale looked comfortable for a while, and then Forest Green started coming into it. Kyle McAllister with a really great finish got them back on level terms. And you're thinking, can Rochdale, do the business? And again, the goal was very similar. The second one, they won it high up the pitch again, played it in. Manny D was unmarked in the box, and great finish, curling finish in the corner. Really impressed with him last night. I thought that was the first game I've really watched him since he's been back injured, and he looked back to the Manny D that we've seen at the start of the season, like fully fit, fully raring to go. Rochdale, another win. They roll on, 7 wins in a row. Incredible. Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, I think Forest Green have shown that they're a good side in these last couple of games. They've played obviously some of the big boys, but they've just come up short, and I think that kind of summarises where they are at the moment. They're just short of these top two, but to be fair to them, that's no bad thing because these two top teams are outrageous. I think we're running out of words to describe these two teams, and obviously we'll come on to York and their results shortly as well. But for me, Rochdale, they're relentless. They find a way to break you down, so you don't need to give them a gimme after 90 seconds, as you've said. Forest Green came into it, looked good. Kyle McAllister scored another good goal. That's 2 in the week for him that have both been pretty good finishes. And then Rochdale and Disaruve turned it around again, and they've won the game, and they're looking very, very good. It was looking even better for them with minutes to go, but obviously there was one extra twist in that last game. But yeah, sitting on top with games in hand, there's 23 other teams that would swap positions with them in a heartbeat, so they're in an extremely good position right now.
Yeah, definitely. And you said it well. We're running out of compliments to pay these teams. I don't know what else to say than what we've already said. Mark, have you got anything new to say that we haven't already said about Rochdale?
Well, I can say something about leaving one of the most lethal goal scorers in the league on his own. I mean, a great finish, from Manny D. I mean, the feet of Fred Astaire, whilst Forest Green's defence was like Freddie Starr. So, honestly, you don't do that, I mean, so early on in a game, because Rochdale fans must be thinking, top of the league here. We've just got our top goal scorer back. We've got Sam Beckwith well covered from the injury. It's a great time to be a Rochdale fan. I mean, but Kyle McAllister, as you said, one of my favourite players of the season, scored a belting goal. But yeah, the title cause is lost for Forest Green now, and they better hope that there is some improvement in the results and in their form, because with the playoffs will be there, but it's all about the positioning. You've got to be in that good position. I mean, whoever finishes second will have the home advantage, but you don't want to be like 6th or 7th because it's an extra game. You know, we've got all the teams who do have the big squads, but yeah, ideally you want to be further up, and I think that's where Robbie needs to be. But Halifax and Southend not Halifax drawing, as we'll allude to, and Southend not playing after a very poorly timed but probably necessary postponement. Yeah, I think he'll be grateful that there were the slip ups there, but now they need to start having a look higher up. Otherwise, those extra games, just one, as they found out last season, will kill them off completely. But Rochdale, still good, so good. It's,
yeah,
good.
Yeah, that's it. Good. That's it. That's all you can say. Next up, we've got the game that we alluded to there, which is York against. Hold on, I forgot there. York against Hartlepool. 3-2. Again, I watched the Rochdale game. When that game finished, everyone knew that York were drawing, so I think there was even more celebrations at the end, thinking, here we go, they've slipped up. And then that crazy last minute that I seen. Mark, what did you make of this?
Yeah, if you're gonna run with the dogs, you better keep up. And York showed that again. I mean, fair play to Hartlepool. I mean, they made him work for it. Alex Newby probably not getting as many games as he likes at York, but he scored an absolute corker, on the half volley to open the score. Hiram Boateng, we haven't mentioned him much this season, but he added a second, and then Hartlepool started to come into it with Reece McNally and Charlie Caton, who they've got on loan from Shrewsbury. Chester fans will remember him. But 103 minutes. 103 minutes. There's no Ollie Pearce there either, but Josh Stones, absolutely confident and as cool as you like. Just whacked the penalty home as you'd expect from any great striker, which he is. And this 2-horse race, and I know I've said this, but I've got this odd feeling that it is, if Rochdale do something with their games in hand, good for them. But if York keep up with them, they are going to they will want as much daylight Rochdale will between them and York at the moment, because it's one or the other, and if it goes down to the last day, and as I've reiterated before, that's a game I would not want to be involved in, because one of you's going to go home crying. That's the problem. One of these great teams is going to end up in the playoffs, and you're thinking, why? Come on, the League Two clubs. Some chairman are absolutely bricking it about the 3 up, 3 down thing, but it's scenarios like this. This is making it absolutely necessary, because both teams deserve to go up. You can't pick one. It's like asking which one of your arms you want removing. It's not a great place to be in the current structure, but York and Rochdale are making it such a great title race.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for York as well, if they do end up in the playoffs, they'll want to exercise the demons of last year as well. So I think they'll be even more, determined to get through them if they do end up in there. But I can honestly see neither of them blinking for a while. Like, they're just relentless at the moment. Even when they're not playing well, grinding out results like York did last night, Rochdale did against Carlisle. Wasn't not great, games defensively or anything like that, but they're just getting results, and that's what it's all about. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, if I'm going to lose an arm, I'd lose my right, because I'm left-handed.
I'm left-handed as well.
Oh, well. You've got a spare here, then.
But yeah, going back to the game and the more important topics, York done what you'd expect champions to do. The problem they've got is Rochdale also doing what champions should do. A counter argument to the 3 up, 3 down. Obviously, I want it to happen. This wouldn't be as exciting if there was 2 spaces, because it'd be, these 2 are up.
It'd be over,
and that's
wouldn't it?
pretty much done, kind of thing. So that's the caveat to that. But I do agree that it should still happen, kind of thing. But yeah, Josh Stones showed he's got stones at the end there by stepping up and taking that penalty. Probably the third taker in the team, with Hunt and Pearce already being off the pitch. Showed some real character to step up and take that and fight it home emphatically. Was it a penalty? It's a very, very soft one, but there was one earlier on, I think at 2-1, that should have gone their way, and then it could have been even more comfortable for them. As Dan says, both teams are relentless. They're finding ways to win. I'd be maybe slightly more concerned if I was York, because they've had to rely on a late goal a couple more times. That eventually that might stop happening, but also with the way they're playing, it could easily keep happening. And maybe someone's due a hiding. They haven't given someone a hiding in about 3 weeks, so they're probably due to give one again very, very soon. I think the last hiding they gave was to mine and Dan's teams, to be fair. So
yeah, I probably just wish they could play Carlisle every week, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, Carlisle and Braintree live the dream, mate, playing us. But no, they're doing really, really well. Hartlepool, they'll probably take a lot from that, but it's one of those ones. Mark spoke about Forest Green maybe getting away with one with Halifax and Southend not playing. Hartlepool could have got a point when Halifax dropped points and Southend didn't play. That could have been a big point, because I don't think they're finished 7th. But if they could have got something from last night and had something to build on, it would have given them the better foundations to do so. And maybe that performance has alleviated a little bit of the pressure on Featherstone. And I think he's talking about getting 2 or 3 more players in. But yeah, I think the playoffs are stretched too far for them. But they take heart from the performance. But ultimately, performances don't get you points all the time. It's the points that matter.
Definitely, mate, definitely. Next up, my favourite result of the midweek, Carlisle 3, Scunthorpe 2. I mean, Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, another playoff battle. I mean, who was gonna blink in this one? And it shows that there is signs of life in Carlisle. It's not always sterile and sort of Jurassic football, if you will, under Mark Hughes. Elliot Embleton, aided and abetted by Scunthorpe's goalkeeper for the first goal. I mean, good grief, use your hands, man, or at least if you got a body, put it behind it. Dearie me. And then David Ajiboy getting to the first one. I don't know what body part it came off, but it came off something, and then the second one a little more composed and precise. And at the other end, Callum Roberts continuing to show why he's one of the best players in the league. And Alfie Beeston, again, another player who we haven't really mentioned this season, but he goes on about his job very, very well in that midfield. He scored as well. I don't think it's too damaging a result for Scunthorpe, because they've been in the playoff mix for quite a few weeks now, and I think they do have the quality to stay there. Carlisle, if they wake up a little bit more, then the quality to do well in this playoffs is there. And Elliot Embleton, I'll pick him out because he's not really been used that much this season. Will players like him and the others who really haven't got a sniff in this season, could they be the ones to sort of ignite what Carlisle are doing and actually maintain a playoff thing? It's a squad game now in the modern era. You need every single player, and if the players who aren't highlighted week after week are getting you the goals that get you the results, it'll give Mark Hughes something to think about. So, but yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. It's just how it all ends. I mean, you've got to see who you will play in the playoffs, and that's what makes it more difficult. But yeah, good result for Carlisle. Nothing to be too concerned about for Scunthorpe.
Craig, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, if you're going to knock on the manager's door like David Ajiboy did a couple of weeks ago, and not beg for a position in the team, but say, what have you got to do? Well, back it up. And he's done that. I think that's 3 goals and a couple of assists in the last 3 or 4 games for him since he's come back into the team. So you can't argue with that. And maybe with some players missing yesterday, you were more of a squad. You didn't feel like there was a heavy reliance going down that left. And maybe that's why you're seeing some rewards, because you are very left-sided heavy, I'd say, at times, and heavily reliant on Regan Linney, despite the fact that I don't think he's turned up since November. But the fact that he wasn't in the team, sometimes taking a better player out of the team actually sometimes makes you a better team. And I don't want to talk badly about him because he had a very good first couple of months, but he hasn't quite lived up to the hype since then. So out the firing line, whether it was injury, what it was, we don't know. But obviously then, yeah, there's players coming. Like you said, Embleton's coming, Adji Boy's coming. Parker came off the bench and linked it up lovely for the final goal. A player that kind of people were questioning why you're going to get him. Moments like that are just going to help his cause and get the fans behind him. But yeah, a good performance, but Scunthorpe disappointed in this one, but still had moments, still had chances. Robert still showed his quality at times. But yeah, you got to ask questions of your goalkeeper on that first goal. It's very, very poor. But yeah, no Linney, no Kelly, Con Clark on the bench, no problem. Maybe that's giving Mark Hughes some headaches and some team selection thoughts for his next game if they are back. Does he leave them out a little bit longer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, you know, obviously watched this game and I've seen that obviously, you know, Linney's not in the squad, Kelly's not in the squad, Conclark's on the bench. You're looking and you're thinking, I'm not sure about this. There was a lot of people questioning the lineup, but I thought it was pretty much spot on. Aaron Hayden was poor at the back, gave the ball away a few times. Potentially could have gave a penalty away as well. Depends what side of the fence you fall on that. I think it's one of them where you've seen them given, but also seen them not given. So it'd be a 50-50 for me. But Scunthorpe were adamant it was a penalty. Morgan Feeney at the back was basically doing the job of two centre halves, covering for Hayden's mistakes. Obviously got the assist for Adjaboy's first goal as well. In midfield, Gilead covered every blade of grass, got stuck in. McAdam got stuck in, made some good runs. Wern was pressing, Armstrong was it was a real team performance, I thought. Like I say, Hayden made some mistakes, but in general, and I agree with what Craig said, maybe Linney taking a bit of time out of the team or whatever for injury isn't necessarily the disaster we maybe thought it was. Maybe it's going to bring the team more closely together. I don't know, but we'll wait and see. But I've got a funny feeling that's not going to be the last time we're talking about Carlisle versus Scunthorpe. I've already said we'll probably play each other in the playoffs at some point because we'll wait and see. And I feel like they owe us one at some point as well because we beat them twice now. So we'll wait and see. But cracking win, and I'm pleased for Adjaboy because he's been heavily criticised by me, by a few people, and he's proven us wrong, and I'm more than happy to admit I'm wrong about certain things like that. Next up, we've got Boreham 3, Yeovil 2. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, a bit of a ding-dong of a game, to be fair, and Boreham for them, it was just about winning yesterday. It didn't really matter how they done it, and they eventually got over the line. Yeovil took the lead. It was a bit scrappy, and Wonnells fired it back across goal. It's a good finish from him, especially being a defensive-minded player to be able to grab a goal like that. Then it became what I'd call the Matt Rush and the Zach Brunt show. Matt Rush kind of picking up 2 assists, although I think the first one was kind of a blocked shot. And Brunt kind of gambled and followed in. And then it was a nice reverse pass to Brunt to put him in for 2-1. And you think, right, they're going to kick on now. And you probably double down on that when Ferguson gets sent off for a second yellow for the most stupid body check either. Matt Rush probably ain't getting anywhere near that ball. And he just deviated his run and ran straight into Matt Rush. And it's a silly yellow, but it's definitely a yellow card. And you're thinking, right, that's going to be game over. It's going to be 3-1, maybe even 4-1. This is exactly what Boreham would need. And then Daly didn't read the script and he drove in and smashed a lovely one into the far corner. And then Boreham would have then your mind's going everywhere again. And you're thinking, Boreham would have going to drop more points. They're in a sticky situation. But Henry, who'd been on loan at Hornchurch earlier in the season, was vital to their run up the National League South, has come back and he bent in a beautiful free kick with 3 minutes of stoppage time played. So it would be the difference. They might say it was making the managers dance. If you've seen that video so far, he couldn't bear to watch it and then was dancing with a fan afterwards. If you haven't seen it, make sure you tune in because that was a good watch, and probably for him it was just that stress relief after what's been a stressful month for the Boreham Woodside and manager. But yeah, a good result for them, and ultimately the performance and how the result came for them when you've lost 4 in a row does not matter. They found a way to win, and that was the important thing. And Yeovil are showing, for me, why they're in mid-table. They make mistakes, they make errors, but they've got enough individual quality and starting to get a really good style of play. Some of the football they played at times was lovely yesterday. That they're going to be a mid-table team, and if they get their recruitment right, they might be able to push towards the playoffs next season.
Yeah, definitely. And I just wanted to touch on the Daly goal. I thought it was really good from him, but I thought defensively they've showed him in on his favoured foot. They've invited him to shoot. You're just asking for trouble, really, from a Boreham Wood perspective for the second goal. But it was very similar to Adjuboy's goal, I thought, where he turned in, just put it in the far corner. And yeah, I thought for me, Yeovil played well, even with 10 men. They defended well, but you can't legislate for free kicks like that. It's just outstanding, isn't it? Really outstanding. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, if anybody needed a win in the whole of the Tuesday or Wednesday night, it was Luke Garrett. And yeah, yes, the video of him with his head sunk into the advertising boards, and then all of a sudden he just springs into life. But the relief he must have felt after some really surprising results as well, surprising defeats, because Boreham Wood have been one of the teams of the season. Luke Garrett will be one of the managers of the season. For them, teams get beat. We understand that. But when they were getting beaten as easily as what they've been doing in the last four, you're thinking, what's going on here? But we talk about players of the scene, and we've already mentioned Callum Roberts, Manny D, Ollie Pearce, Zach Brunt falls into that category, and they're showing why. He's showing why he was wanted permanently. I still don't get what Barnett didn't see in him, but if somebody can enlighten me, then please do. Jake Monell opened the scoring. The James Daly 25-yarder will always be good to look at, but there was a lot of similar goals in these midweek games as well. Everybody could position themselves to get on the favoured foot and blast it in from 20, 25 yards. Yeah, the red card for Ferguson, he is prone to making that sort of indecisiveness, shall we call it, for want of a better term. And he better watch out, because somebody will come in his place under the suspension and might do 10 times better, and it'll give Yeovil something to think about. It's like, right, can we afford to have this liability? I mean, they're in mid-table, and from where they were first 7 games of the season, I think they'll take that. But yeah, and then Aaron Henry, he was at Hornchurch, and now he's what could spearhead trying to cement the playoff place. Is a great free kick. I do love a 25-yard free kick, and that was super, if you will. But yeah, Boreham Wood back in business. So, and I think Luke Garrett will be hoping that they can just, they've had the blip. Let's not do another one. Some important games coming up.
Yeah, just need to stop the rot. We said that on the last show, didn't we? And they've done that. So credit to them. Next up, we've got another outstanding game. 3-2 was the magic result, but I don't think anyone's seen this coming. Solihull 2, Eastleigh 3. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, definitely didn't see this coming, and definitely didn't see it coming when Solihull were 2-0 up. I think people would have been betting their house that was going to be a routine Solihull win in the end. So credit to Eastleigh. They went for it as well. They had quite an aggressive starting lineup. They had Saunders, Blair and Tabor playing. So they probably went for it. So they probably felt there was goals in this game. But what they didn't expect is probably to have to come back from 2-0 down and win it. But we've been questioning their credentials if they're good enough to stay in this league. And that is a performance, that second half performance, that tells you, yes, they are on their day. But unfortunately for them, their day hasn't come enough recently. But yeah, Solihull took the lead through Wilkinson and High. And then, yeah, you're expecting a routine win. They did make a couple of changes at half-time, Solihull. I think Wilkinson's day was done at half-time, where it must have been an injury, because I don't expect you to take a goal score off at 2-0 at half-time. And then Eastleigh come into it, Saunders, Pearson, and then Waite again, similar cutting in on that left foot and bending it into that far corner. Like Mark said, a few carbon copies this midweek. And yeah, a really, really good game. A surprise result, but a massive result for Eastleigh, which now kind of gives them a little bit of daylight. It's mad, because we were talking about them being in trouble, and now they're sitting 15th. That's how tight it is down there. They're now 6 from the drop, which is where they were before they played Braintree. So it's kind of like the Braintree defeat and the Solihull game has cancelled each other out effectively for them. So yeah, they're in a better place, but they're still one to watch, because as yesterday showed, they can blow very hot and cold, and quite a lot recently. It's been quite cold. Solihull, they're I think they're marooned to mid-table now. They're going to be probably 10th, maybe competing with Hartlepool for 9th, and that's about it. But yeah, it's been a good season, but results like this will just give the manager, I think, right, maybe this player isn't good enough for next season, and maybe that's where their thought process is now already heading towards what are we going to do for next season, what are we going to do in the close season. They're at Braintree on Saturday, live on DAZN, Craig Port commentator, so I'll be watching them very carefully on Saturday.
0-0 incoming. 0-0 incoming. But yeah, just what you talk about similar goals. There was 2 similar goals in this as well in this game. The first goal for Wilkinson, great crossing from Wakeling out wide, and then I think it was Harvey Saunders with the first goal back for Eastleigh, which was a great cross, great finish, and it's quite nice. I'm old-fashioned. I like seeing wingers go out wide, whip balls in the box, and things that we don't see enough of that, in my opinion. I just wanted to highlight that because it was nice to see that going on, especially the Wakeling one. I thought that was a really great cross. Wilkinson couldn't miss, and it was more about the ball than anything else. Like, it was right on his head, right in the right place, right time. Perfect. Absolutely loved that. And like I say, Eastleigh, we've questioned them, but if you can't build on that on Tuesday night, if you can't build on that, then maybe they deserve to go down. That's got to be a performance that can define the season. Surely, like, they've got to be able to do something off the back of that. Otherwise, it was for nothing. Mark, what did you make of this one, mate?
Yeah, I mean, Craig went on about Eastleigh not expecting to make a comeback from 2 goals down. I don't think Solihull expected to lose it being 2 goals up. It was, as you say, Connor Wilkinson and Scott High comfortable at half time. And was everybody high at half time? You don't know, because how do you collapse like that? Harvey Saunders, the Tranmere fans must be wondering how he's ended up at Eastleigh on loan. He's playing out of his skin for Eastleigh at the moment. And you look at where Tranmere are in League Two, then they could do with him back. But yeah, Pearson and Waite made it a remarkable comeback. But as you say, the dizzying heights of 15th for them, and we sort of as a collective expected them to do a hell of a lot better. But maybe if they find their blend and they can get up, move up like 10th or 11th, whatever it is, then. But it's certainly not a success for Eastleigh after all the expectation with the good signings that came in. It just haven't quite dropped, and nobody seems to really know why. Solihull, I think their mid-table consolidation path continues, really, but they cannot afford to keep losing leads like this. I mean, 2-0, you should be thinking, right, go out there, get another couple, not go out there and concede 3. I don't think Chris Millington's going to be very happy with that. I mean, they've got the quality there, Solihull, but this is a game, really, they should have had the 3 points from, and they can, Solihull fans can rightly consider themselves disappointed in the fact that they didn't. But, credit to Eastleigh, they won it through hard graft, and that is what they're going to need if they're going to climb up the table.
Definitely, mate, definitely. Next up, we've got Sutton versus Braintree.
I'm going to look forward to this.
The National League Lowdown Derby, the meeting of Craig and Louis. How was it, mate? You obviously mentioned the weather already.
Yeah, so the weather was horrific. The food was worse, but that's irrelevant for right now. No, in terms of a game, it was, you could see why both teams were down there, especially in the first half. The first half was a bit of a non-event. They had some moments. They played some good stuff, but without any substance behind it in the final third. They had a few corners. They had a few half shots saved by Mason Terry. We didn't offer too much in the first half. And then in the second half, it swung on about 3 minutes where there's a few tackles flying in with the weather, which you love to see. And you just know that there's going to be someone in a minute that just mistimes one really, really badly, and they're going to get sent off. And that was young Charlie Bell for Sutton. He went flying in George Langston and cut him into pieces. And it's a red card. And when his manager comes out after the game as well and says it's a red card, that shows it's a red card, and respect to the manager. I think he didn't want to throw the young lad under the bus, but he was talking about how he'd learned from it. And I think he got caught up because obviously, when a big tackle goes in, everyone gets up and excited and cheers. And there was a chance and he just flew in a little bit recklessly. And he'll learn lots from it. He's been a good addition. He's probably one of the most lively players in the first half. So it'd be disappointing for him. But while George Langston's off getting treatment, 10v10, Braintree actually took the lead. You talked about crosses into the box. There can't have been too many better than Jacob Pinnington's for the goal. He's whipped it in, and Walker's got across his man and guided it. I say into the corner. It wasn't into the corner. It was a back across. But guided on, and it was just out of reach of Jack Sims, who got fingertips to it, but couldn't keep it out. And yeah, Braintree took the lead, and you think, right, brilliant, we're going to kick on. And we had chances. We had a chance for Saheed Kamara. It was rolled across to him, and he's tried to kind of whip it into the far corner, and Sims has spread himself well, but it was kind of at him. It was a good save, a good save, but one you don't want their keeper to get anywhere near. It should be swept past him without him having to think about it, kind of thing. But that shows one of our issues. And then every time we broke because we were letting them have the ball and then springing, players ran offside or players took an extra touch instead of making the pass and the move fizzled out. There was about 5 or 6 3-on-2 moments that if we just played them right, would have been in on goal. The new lad, Harris, I think was very keen to impress and took a shot from an angle where I think if he just rolls it across, someone scores an easy goal and we go 2-0 up. And then Sutton kind of last 15 minutes just went, yeah, we're going to go for this. We made a change. We took off. Who did we take off? I can't remember who took off now and put on Clamping, and he was playing slightly out of position. So that kind of threw me a little bit. That was a bit of a weird change for me. And then Drake got injured, making a foul, got booked. He was playing left back at the time. So Clamping went into left back and Babbage come on, and that kind of unsettled us a little bit. And then from that free kick, it went off for our throw in with time wasted from the throw in, gave the ball away. And then it's a lovely bit of play from Jaden Harris. He's sent 2 defenders and backheeled it into Brandon Njoku, who's knocked it in the corner to go 1-1. And then a few of their players ran towards Pinnington and was giving him the big one because he'd been wasting time a lot, which I'm a big fan of, to be fair. If you're going to waste time and it goes wrong, you've got to take the repercussions of it. And then that did spill over again after full time, but I didn't see any cards brandished because we've been stung by that already, getting 2 players sent off after the final whistle. But I don't think there was anything there. There was still time after the equaliser in the 94th minute for Njoku to go round Mason Terry and fall over, which was unfortunate for him, but I was ecstatic that he fell over. They had 2 chances where maybe in better weather conditions they make the most of it. But yeah, it was a lively second half after a pretty damp in weather and performance first half. The second half did enough to warm me up. But yeah, it was a long journey home soaking wet, and a 94th minute equaliser always stings. And I think the point suits them better, kicks them out of the relegation zone, and they played, including stoppage time, about 47 minutes with 10 men. So a missed opportunity for us.
I said this last night. I was like, the draw doesn't really solve anything for anyone. But when you look at the context, as in Braintree were leading for a while, Sutton were down to 10 men. They got the late equaliser. Sutton will definitely be happier with the point than Braintree. Braintree will be looking at that as 2 points dropped, given the chances you've said on the break there. But I thought the game really was a tale of 2 really good assists. Like you say, the cross from Pinnington for the first one, and then Harris with the back heel, absolutely outstanding. Because in that environment, that last minute, it would have been easy for him to have a rush of blood to the head and just take a pot shot or sky it over the bar. But he actually, used his brain, back heel, took out 2 defenders. Annoying, yeah, annoying for you. But I thought the 2 assists were absolutely outstanding. They really were. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Well, I haven't said this in a while, but the irresistible force meeting the immovable object in the bottom 4 there. But it was, in the grander scheme of things, you can look at it like this with some of the results that were going on with teams bubbling in around them. It was probably a useful point for both, but not in the context that I think they probably wanted. It was never going to be a classic. I mean, Louis been on here and he's bemoaned Sutton's performances. Craig has tried to be as diplomatic as absolutely humanly possible, and sometimes it just hasn't worked. And he's had to look at it. But yeah, I mean, you've got the 2 teams are there. They're scrapping to stay in the league. you're not going to have. They'll take anything they can get. I mean, a 94th minute equaliser is always a killer. It doesn't matter whether you're up at the top, doesn't matter whether you're down at the bottom. And as you say, and Njoku could have made it 2-1, but unfortunately the studs in his boots decided to disappear at the right moment. But yeah, given the grander scale of it all, with a few of the results going Sutton and Braintree's way, it's not something that they could go, yeah, that was a brilliant point, because it wasn't. It was just there and thereabouts. But Braintree are scoring. They're getting the goals. You know, they just need to get more than one. And Sutton,
we did on last Saturday.
exactly. Yeah, it's the brain tree, the brain learning tree, if you will. You know, it's like 1 + 1 is 2. Let's move along with that. But yeah,
not everyone in Braintree knows that, unfortunately, mate.
You heard it here first, folks. They don't put the brain in Braintree, unfortunately. And yes, I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, a fair result. I mean, one of our podcast third co-hosts could have been sulking on this one, but you know, all's fair in love and war in El Podcastico.
El Podcastico, I like it. Next up, we've got Morecambe 2, Tamworth 2.
Oh boy.
Mark, what did you make of this one?
Again, I'm going to repeat myself here. We've gone through games and we have picked out some of the players of the season. And I'll highlight Jack Nolan once again. I am a huge fan of this guy. Yeah, stick him on that right-hand side. He knows his play is to cut in like he did for his goal and use that left foot. Why nobody has picked up on that, I am not entirely sure, because he does it time and time again. Chris Popoff certainly didn't pop off for his goal. He got one. Tamworth, Jordan Cullinan Libbard, and Oliver Lynch. Thank you for having such a more pronounceable name. But Jim Bentley's he'll see that as a point gained. But they're coming from behind, and there's nothing surprising about Morecambe. You think that they'd be a little bit more, I mean, the demigod has gone. You know, his philosophies have walked out of the door with him. You know, and Jim Bentley is more of a sort of meat and potatoes style manager, but the more things change, the more they stay the same, and Morecambe are just stuck as they are. I mean, I still think they'll go down, and the likes of Nolan will go out the door with them. Tamworth, yeah, they've got their midfield. God damn it, mid-table position, which you could call midfield, I suppose. But there's just nothing to bite at with this game. I mean, if Morecambe had gone on and won, it would have been useful for them. But it isn't. It's just pretty much mundane, run-of-the-mill stuff. They need something to change. They can't. Nolan cannot be the only player playing in that team who wants to fight for the cause, because pretty soon the cause will be lost and the war will be over. So everybody's got to start making contributions. But yeah, a point apiece.
Doesn't solve anything. No, I agree.
No,
it doesn't solve anything.
No.
Doesn't solve anything. I thought Nolan done well for the first goal. Obviously scored it, but he pressed high and won the ball back as well. It wasn't just scoring. He won the ball back. Yeah, and then for me, Morecambe, this is how I kind of know they're going down, when both goals were goalkeeping errors, in my opinion. Blackman, both goals should have done better, especially the first one, but the second one as well. Both really poor. Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, I've got to say I do disagree a little bit with Mark on this one, that he said Bentley might take this as a good point. They were leading the game twice and they'd lost to Truro and only got a point from Altrincham. So this was in the category of must win for me for Morecambe, and they didn't. They again were masters of their own downfall, and I think that's been that same for most of their seasons. To be fair, new managers, same problems. I think it is. They make individual errors at the worst times and pay for it. The goalkeeper I think the second one for me is probably even worse because the shot seems to come at snail's pace. Just catch it, man, or at least like
Push it away.
get on top of it, push it away at distance, and he's just pushed it into such a easy area where a striker or an opposition player is always going to be, and you've killed your team effectively then. And when you're fighting down the bottom, you've got to cut these errors out. If you lose some moments of brilliance, or you lose to a better team, because quite frankly there is better teams than them in this league, then you can go fair play. But when you're doing some stupid decisions, as Blackman's done a few times this season, he's had some excellent games for them. He's made some excellent saves, but my God, he's made some mistakes as well. That they're handicapping themselves. They're turning up to a sword fight with a cucumber. Like they're struggling so much. They're having a bit of a shocker. Like just do the basics right, and then you might get something. And that might be what Bentley's got to install in them, because they're making so many errors. Defending corners against Truro was a big issue. Their goalkeeper making mistakes today. They're literally got a one-way ticket to National League North at the moment, and that's all I can really say on it at the moment.
No, I agree. They're making mistakes that you just see from teams that are going to be relegated. Like I said, it's a regular occurrence. And then last up for our deep dive, we've got Boston 1, Gateshead 0. Talking of another team that's probably doomed, Gateshead. Boston, they're flying at the moment. That's 3 wins in a row, 2 clean sheets in a row as well, 2 1-0 wins against teams down the bottom. What more can I say? Craig, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, Gateshead 10 from safety. What I will say on that is they've got 2 games in hand over most of the teams around them, and 3 on Braintree and Morecambe. So if that they need a Boston-style run, effectively, that's the only thing that's going to give them a chance of staying in now is winning 3-4 in a row. They're not in a position where they can win one, lose one, like maybe the likes of Sutton, Braintree can. They can win one, lose one, and stay up. Yes, I think they're as good as gone now, which is a shame for them. They've probably been hampered by the weather as well, because they've built this new squad and then they're not being able to play, and then rustiness is mad when you talk about January and a team being rusty. February and a team being rusty, but they hadn't played really much in the last couple of weeks at all. Obviously, the game against my boys was called off on Saturday. It's been a long time since they've played consistent league games, and that rustiness must have played a factor. Boston, if you get a new manager in to keep you up from the drop, this is what you want. They've made great signings. They're playing a decent style of football. They're hard to beat. They're not making them silly errors we just spoke about. They've got goals across the team. They're getting clean sheets. Happy days. 15th, 16th, good season. Shake hands, move on, go again next season.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're talking about balls into the box. I thought Carson's for this one was absolutely outstanding as well. Kerson's got a good header on it. I liked it. Carson for Kerson's. But yeah, it was a really good cross from the free. I think it was a free kick. Really good ball into the box again. Like I say, it's underrated in my opinion these days. A lot of players want to play safe, pass it backwards, recycle the ball. Just get the ball in the mixer. Get the ball in the mixer, especially when you're in relegation scraps and stuff like that. Get the ball in the mixer. Mark, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, you can tell the difference between the Morecambe managerial change and the Boston managerial change. Paul Hurst built himself quite a good reputation at the clubs he's been at, but he went out and got an experienced man, Jamie Grimes, at the back. Got him from Chesterfield. Thomas Kersons, again, still can't figure out why Harrogate didn't really want to give him a chance there. I mean, it was excellent for Ilkeston. Really was excellent for Ilkeston when they were playing in the NPL with Mac. But 5 minutes in, he's got your goal. You know, you can get more goals in a game. Yes, it's all part of it. But sometimes one is enough. And Gateshead, yeah, the voyage down to National League North with Morecambe continues. Really, I think if they don't get any of these games in hand, I mean, it's like Rochdale. They've got these games in hand going on this wonderful title challenge. Gateshead have got these games in hand to plug a relegation drop. It could be detrimental to them. You just don't know. Because again, and I'll emphasise it's when you've got to fit in these games. Some dates might not be available. If you get yourself playing 3 times in a week and you think, what's going to go on with this squad? It could happen. It could happen. But yeah, Gateshead, everything that could have gone wrong from pre-season is getting there. And I think a term in National League North, maybe 2 or 3 terms in National League North, will do them the power of good, because they can get themselves together, decide how the club is going to be run, and just give themselves a break. It's a pressure cooker, the National League, and I think they can possibly do without it. So, well, yeah, but all hail Paul Hurst. He's doing the job. I mean, it's what was it? Ian Dowie once said, it's deja vu all over again.
Absolute classic.
Oh,
That's it for the deep dive.
18 games they've got to fit in. Sorry, 18 games between now and the end of April.
Oh, boy.
Correct.
They've had it. They have had it.
And just going on what you said as well about the Gateshead Rochdale, it's a lot easier to play more games in the short space of time when you're top of the league and you're fighting for a title. When things are going well, than when things are not going well.
That the repercussions could be dire, you're thinking, "Oh God, we've got to fit this game in." It's a millstone and a milestone, if you will, baby.
Exactly. So next up, we've got 3 in 3 minutes. It's my turn this week. So I'm going to do Altrincham 1, Wealdstone 0. Again, we talked previously about Wealdstone having 2 away games so close together, with them being part-time. They're not going to be too concerned by this, but it was a big win for Altrincham, getting sucked into that relegation scrap. That's only their 2nd win in the last 12 games, which is incredible, really. Poor form for them, but a massive win from them, moving them away from relegation. Next up, we've got Truro 0, Woking 2. We said Truro had to build on that win at Morecambe. I'm not saying they had to win that game, but I just think if you're going to be staying up, you need to be getting something from that game, even a draw. Woking hadn't been in great form themselves, but goals from Lewis Flower and Jack Turner late on gave Woking the 2-0 win. Woking will be happy with that, and Truro's not an easy place to go, despite where they are in the league, especially midweek. So they'll be happy with that. And then Brackley 1, Halifax 1. This was a tale of 2 penalties. Halifax took the lead. Will Harris, we talked about him. I know Mark's got a stat on him. We'll come to Mark in a minute on that. But Will Harris with the penalty, and then it looked like Halifax were going to get the win and solidify that playoff place. But then Brackley, I think it was the 3rd minute of added time, Shane Byrne converted that 1-1. Brackley unbeaten in 8 now. Again, there has been a lot of draws in there and things, but unbeaten in 8, which is outstanding for them, really, considering where they are in the league, what the expectations are, and that they've lost the manager. I think that's really outstanding from them. And Halifax are a good side, and a point against them is not to be sniffed at. So, Mark, what was your stat on Will Harris?
There are 6 in 4 for Will Harris. I think that's taking him up to about 16, 17 goals now. And considering he was a trialist in pre-season from Spennymoor, I remember he played against Mac and played really well in pre-season. Again, we've gone on about your standout players. Will Harris, pronouns pal, is come in and done. And has done the business. He could have been looked at as a backup striker, but no, he's your talisman. And excellent work from Adam Lakeland for spotting the potential.
Definitely, mate.
15 league goals he's got.
15 league goals this season. Incredible return from him. And
same as Matt Rush.
Yeah, and there's still a while to go as well. Craig, I believe you're up now for monthly award winners.
Yes. Hello, Scunthorpe fans. How are you?
Yeah.
You've done it again. You've done it again. Your club retweets our polls, and you guys run away with it once again. Manager of the month, surprise, surprise, Andy Butler, Scunthorpe, 71% of the vote. That's
wow.
1,234 votes out of 1,734. Jimmy McNulty, Stuart Maynard, and Adam Lakeland got about 29% between the 3 of them, with Lakeland finishing 2nd, Maynard 3rd, and McNulty in 4th. So, yeah, these polls obviously it's good to get some perspective on these that Scunthorpe do retweet. I think Mark was trying to get out there for the other teams to retweet them.
Make it fair. Make it fair.
Yeah, come on. It's not that hard.
Nothing against Butler. He had probably a worthy month and is fully up there as a contender, but 70% of it is probably too much for me. I'm not saying he's not a worthy winner, but a landslide winner, I wouldn't sure I'd agree with that. Hello, Scunthorpe fans. How are you? Player of the month. 1,734 votes again, and Zane Westbrook got 1,283 of them, which was 73.9%. So he ran away with that one. In second place was Will Harris with 14.2. In third place was Kyron Gordon with 7.4. And in fourth place was Gus Scott Morris with 4.5% of the votes. So, yeah, a back-to-back double for Scunthorpe with Butler back-to-back winners of the Manager of the Month and Callum Roberts. Now, be it welcoming Zane Westbrook into the Winners' Lounge on this one. February, no Scunthorpe players or managers will be involved if I have my way, but we'll see how they do for the month. They've lost to Carlisle, so that helps not to put them in.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to stop them hijacking the votes. Goal of the month as well was Will Harris's bicycle kick at Eastleigh as well against Eastleigh. Yeah, obviously we decide that amongst ourselves, but I'm sure if we put it to the vote, Scunthorpe's tap in from 2 yards would have won. But yeah, yeah, or no goal. Yeah, true. But yeah, no, I agree with Andy Butler. I think he deserves to win, but the margin, I would say, is probably a bit crazy to me. But again, that's why when we leave it up to you guys, when you blame us for stuff, and it's like, well, it's actually
it's all your fault at the end of the day.
So if Rochdale fans aren't happy that Scunthorpe have won by a landslide, Rochdale share our posts, get in on it. If Carlisle aren't happy, get Carlisle in on it. And things like that, which is what Mark was trying to do. But yeah, that's it from us anyways. Thanks to Craig and Mark for joining me. We're nearly at 960 subscribers now. If we want to try and get to 1,000 as quickly as possible. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone. And we'll see you again next time. Take care.